Before the war that bathed the Pacific in blood, another war began and ended in silence. It didn't come from ships or planes. It came from the stars. In 1928, an old fisherman in the mountains of Luzon, Philippines, saw what he thought was a falling star, but it didn't explode. It simply sank into the jungle, and the forest around it went quiet forever. Locals called it Buluhat, the one who fell from the sky. 16 years later, in 1944, no one remembered that story anymore. Now, the jungle had only one name, the battlefield. Imagine you are Sergeant Tanaka of the Imperial Japanese Army. Sweat drips from your brow, mixing with mud and dried blood on your cheek. You are no longer a young man chasing dreams of glory. You're a survivor. Around you stands Oni Squad, the Empire's most hardened soldiers, veterans of impossible missions. Their new assignment sounds simple enough. Track and eliminate a group of Filipino guerrillas who ambushed a supply convoy. A routine seek and destroy mission. But what if I told you that in this jungle, you weren't the hunters? What if what you were tracking was tracking something else? And what if you, the Empire's finest, were about to become prey in a hunt that didn't belong to this world? After the war, US military files recorded a strange sight deep in the mountains, an area of dead forest littered with Japanese radio equipment, silent and scorched. The report concluded it was a Japanese weapons test gone wrong. They were wrong. The truth was far worse. Tanaka was a pragmatic man. He believed in his family's gunto sword, his Arisaka Type 99 rifle, and the iron discipline of the army. He didn't believe in demons or the native stories whispered by locals. His team consisted of 5 men. Akira, a skilled tracker who could read footprints like a book. Yuki, a small but fearless radio operator. And 2 young infantrymen, Kaito and Haruto, whose eyes still burned with the blind faith of war. They hired a local guide named Rico, a thin man whose eyes never stopped trembling. He led them deeper into the forest, beyond any map, beyond the world of men. "We're close," Rico said, his voice quivering as they reached a wall of deformed vegetation. This is where Buluhat fell. The sight before them was unnatural. The plants here glowed faintly, their leaves tinted with a sickly blue hue. Even in daylight, the flowers emitted a soft, phosphorescent light. The air smelled of ozone and something like burnt metal. No birds, no insects, only silence. Akira knelt to inspect the ground. "Sergeant?" The guerrilla tracks stopped here, but something's wrong. They advanced and found the guerrillas. 12 of them, all dead, but there were no bullet wounds, no cuts. Their uniforms were intact, yet their bodies inside had collapsed into empty husks, as if something had sucked them dry. Their weapons were scattered, every magazine emptied, shot wildly into the trees. "What the hell?" Kaito gagged, retching. Rico backed away, face pale. "The Soul Eater," he stammered. "It has awakened." Before Tanaka could stop him, Rico fled into the trees and vanished. Now they were alone, and their enemy wasn't human. Tanaka ordered a defensive formation. He could feel it, something watching. A cold tremor crawled down his spine, the feeling of prey being studied by a higher predator. Akira was the first to see movement. He pointed upward. In the canopy, they saw nothing, only a shimmer, a ripple in the air like heat waves on a summer road, a distortion of space itself. Then it began. A faint clicking sound echoed all around them. Not animal, not mechanical, something in between. Yuki, the radio operator, shouted, "Sergeant, the radio, it's transmitting." Tanaka grabbed the headset. He froze. It was his own voice, recording his orders from minutes ago. Then came the screams of the guerrillas, played back perfectly. It wasn't just hunting, it was learning, it was recording. "It's toying with us," Akira growled. A scream shattered the air. From above, Haruto, the youngest soldier, was yanked from his perch. Something transparent and slimy coiled around his throat. Before they could shoot, he was dragged into the canopy and gone. Only a wet, muffled sound followed. Then silence. Panic erupted. Kaito fired wildly into the trees. "Show yourself, coward!" And it did. It didn't descend. It assembled, out of the air itself. Its body was a nightmare of jagged insect-like limbs, a chitinous shell half visible, shifting between forms. It had no eyes, no mouth, only a swirling hollow where its face should have been. It moved like a broken film reel, jerky, unnatural, impossible. For the first time, Sergeant Tanaka felt true fear. This was no creature. This was a living weapon. "Fire!" The Arisaka rifles thundered, tearing through the dark. Sparks flew where the bullets struck its shell. Useless. It didn't bleed. It didn't feel pain. It lunged. In a blur, one of its limbs pierced through Kaito's chest. He convulsed, then collapsed into a shriveled husk, deflated in seconds like the others. Akira and Tanaka retreated, firing. Behind them, Yuki screamed into the radio, Headquarters, this is Oni Squad. We're under attack. Not human, I repeat, not human. The creature turned toward him. The hole in its face opened, and a sound burst out, a collage of hundreds of screams it had recorded. Yuki fell, clutching his bleeding ears. In that moment, Akira did the unthinkable. He drew his wakizashi, charged forward, and pulled the pins on 2 grenades strapped to his belt. For the Emperor! The explosion ripped through the clearing. Tanaka was thrown back, ears ringing, vision blurred. When the smoke cleared, he saw it. The creature wounded. Its shell cracked open, revealing a mess of glowing organic cables and pulsing organs inside. It couldn't cloak anymore. But Akira was gone. Only his broken sword remained, embedded in the earth. The creature shrieked in rage and turned toward Tanaka. He was the last one standing. He raised his rifle, aiming at the exposed core. 1 shot left. 1 chance. But before he could fire, the radio crackled to life. This time there were no screams. A calm, emotionless voice spoke in flawless Japanese. Specimen acquired. Analysis complete. Resistance negligible. Tanaka froze. He understood now. This wasn't a hunt. It was a test. A collection. They were insects in someone's laboratory. The creature charged. Tanaka didn't fire. He simply stared, mind empty, realizing a truth more terrifying than death. The Great War, the one millions were fighting, was nothing. A side event in a far larger conflict that humanity didn't even know existed. A year later, in 1945, a US recon team found the site. Arasaka rifles, a melted radio fused into slag, symbols burned into stone by something impossibly hot, no bodies, no blood, nothing. The Oni Squad incident was classified top secret and buried. But down in the village below the mountain, people still whisper about Buluhat. They say it still sleeps beneath the earth, and on moonless nights it awakens, not to hunt, but to send a signal to the stars. A report. The question isn't whether Oni Squad encountered something extraterrestrial. The question is far worse. What did it report? And when will the others come? World War II may have ended, but perhaps it only marked the moment when something else began watching us. And in that war, the real war, we are not the soldiers, we are the specimens.